I can't recall the day dream became my life. I've lived an eternity with you by my side, Like the sun and the moon, I mean that your light reflects mine, and riding together we have conquered the sky. But for so long I failed to see the truth as I searched for a fantasy that lived within you. Said, how did you know that you'd be my angel when your wings were trapped into my heart? Where did you see that we would be wonderful, and our dreams would live where we are?
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hi, everybody. My name is Shane Schultz, and this is the Arisen Strength broadcast. Folks, we do this show every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time because we feel that there are far too many dreams, talents, and capabilities that are being suppressed for whatever reason. Whether it be illness, injury, or life experiences, these situations have a way of robbing what it is that makes us unique and special in this world, and that's our passions. Here at Arisen Strength, we encourage people to pursue their dreams, talents, and capabilities in spite of the challenges that they face. And how we do that is through our 3-pillar concept. Number 1, we support. Number 2, we empower. And number 3, after all that work, we have the right to celebrate. Folks, that's what the Arisen Strength concept is. Our goal is to help people find the strength within themselves. Tonight's episode, we're going to talk about a unique skill that we've learned over our different types of therapy that we both, Wayne and I, have been through, and it's called the freedom of acceptance. Wayne, it's a great show tonight that we got going here with the freedom of acceptance.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad to be here. We were trying out a lot of new things here tonight, so my computer is running a lot slower than it normally does. Mm-hmm. So if I feel like I'm a little out of sorts, it's because I'm struggling with having to accept the state of my computer at the moment. But yeah, the freedom of acceptance, this is going to be, we're going to talk about this, but one thing acceptance does is it gives you that freedom to consider options that you may not have otherwise considered. When you don't accept things, a lot of times you end up with blinders on, and you're not familiar with what your options are. Your options are your opportunities. You're just not aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited about this show because I believe that it can help a lot of people. Because I know it helped myself. I know it helped Wayne. And I know a lot of people that it's helped out as well. But before we get started, let's go ahead and introduce our cast. I have Wayne, and then there's me. Wayne's the director of all that Arisen Strength does, so he's kind of fried this weekend because we're really doing a lot of different things, of which I greatly appreciate all his efforts for. But the rest of our cast, they're all in different situations. Number 1, we're going to give an update on Charles. By now, everybody knows that Charles had a kidney transplant. Everything was going fine, and then he developed some significant complications. It didn't look really good, but I'll tell you what, Charles is a fighter. He has just kept on coming back, and it's gotten to the point as to where we're really going to get the best case scenario that we could have expected with this surgery that he had. He is now at a specialist for transplants. And they do expect to keep him for approximately another month before they let him come home. This situation was pretty significant for Charles' condition that he was in before he went in, and then having the complications on top of it, definitely made a difference as far as the timetable goes. But the timetable doesn't matter. The fact that Charles is going to get better, the fact that he will be back, is what's all important. So, give a hand to everybody that had anything to do with Charles' condition, and give a hand to everybody who gave their prayers and their thoughts to us as Arisen Strength, and to Charles. As not only a cast member, he's a great friend. So we're really looking forward to getting him back. We also have another situation as to where Christina, who normally runs our chat room, Christina, she's just under the weather for right now. That's pretty much what she would want me to say. She's going through quite a bit of things, and her friends, both on Facebook and in person, they know all about it. We know all about it. But Christina's not one to really go into details of what's going on until she's ready. But suffice to say, she's a little bit under the weather. She definitely will be back with us as soon as she can, because she's looking forward to being part of the staff of Arisen Strength as well. Who else? Dan the man. I've spoken with Dan recently. He's got a lot of things going on personally. But he's still on the Arisen Strength staff. I told him, I said to take the time in order to be able to get what he needs to get done, so that he can, be 110%, with the staff, not only for us, but for himself. And that's important. So what other things? Oh, we as Wayne said, we're trying a number of different things. We're doing a lot of different things in regards to the video, to the credits, we're also doing things here in person with an actual live event that we're planning and everything. So Wayne took it upon himself to go ahead and make this beautiful video of opening credits. And when I saw it, it was like one of those things as to where I couldn't, appreciate Wayne any more than what I already do. So I figured, well, let's send that right on out and show everybody. Well, the thing is that when I saw the video, I didn't have any audio, and there didn't seem to be anything to it. Then the next day, after I posted it to all over the place so that I could, show off Wayne, so to speak, next day I get an email from a good friend of mine, Harper, and Harper tells me, what in the world is with the audio on the video that you sent? Well, it turns out that what happened is that Wayne was watching one of his favorite TV shows. Happens to be a police show or detective show.
The Blacklist.
The Blacklist. We're not trying to plug that, but that's what it was. And it had a fight scene in the middle of it. Had a lot of different language that was going on, as well as the fight scene. So it definitely could be inferred that it was something else than what it really was. Wayne had actually turned off all the speakers, so he didn't hear it. So he didn't think that it was going on to the video at all. But it actually was probably one of the better audios that we've had on a video in a long time. So we want to apologize if that. We certainly did not want to have that go out the way that it did. But as anybody who knows us knows that we feel terrible about that situation, and that we took it right off all the timelines that we could, and we built another one. So we want to apologize for that. We certainly didn't want to make any concerns or make any triggering situations for anyone that's out there for any particular reason. So again, we want to apologize for that, and we'll let it go at that.
I was going to say, yeah, this is just an example how a lot of little things can compound. is I was working on making the credits, so I turned off my speaker, and I don't even know if the TV, because I have multiple screens going on here. I wasn't really paying attention to what was on the screen. I may even not even have the video up at the time, but I turned off all my audio, so I wasn't listening to anything. Yeah. But when I was making when I was converting all the graphics and stuff I had done into a movie, it was picking up my system sounds at the time, so it was picking up the audio, which I wasn't even listening to. And then when I posted it on Facebook, one of the things I intended to do was just to post it so Shane could say it. I wasn't posting it so that anybody could see it, but I just posted it so Shane. But I messed up again, another mistake, and set it so that my friends, my Facebook friends could see what I had posted, not just Shane, but my Facebook friends. And one of them actually commented on it, said they liked the video. Yeah. And that threw me off. I was like, why are my friends liking this? They're not supposed to be able to see it. And then I saw a comment of somebody who said they couldn't hear the audio, or they couldn't access the video. Which again made sense. Oh no, then you shared it, as you said. Yeah. After I posted it, you liked it, you shared it, and then friends of Shane's were trying to see it, but they couldn't see it because the setting I put, which I thought was only Shane could see, was only my friends and Shane could see, so they couldn't see it. So then I was like, ugh. At that point, the cat was out of the bag. My friends were already liking it. Shane had already passed it on, so I said it so that anybody could see it. And at this point, I'm still not listening to it. I'm not playing to listen to it. Shane wasn't listening to it. We were just watching it for the graphics. And there's this fight scene underneath. And there's a promo. The whole thing's a promo for domestic abuse. And there's a fight scene underneath. I mean, you're talking about all the things that could line up to possibly go wrong. Yeah. And we pulled it from as best we could. I mean, it's possible that versions of it leaked out that were out of our control or we just didn't know about. And again, we definitely apologize for that. That was
because it was weird because people were liking it. I mean, and especially when they said that they couldn't see it, and then we fixed that, and nobody came back to me saying that there was a problem until the next day. And it was only one person that told me. So, but I mean, either way, it wasn't what we really wanted to get out that way, and we certainly apologize for that. We're not against making mistakes. We don't like that type of mistake, but we're not we're not infallible by any means. I think that's what makes this show kind of nice to be around, because people understand that, because everybody else in the world is not infallible either. So anyways, we've put quite a bit on that, but I think that was necessary because that's how much that it means to us, the content that we put out there, not only in regards to the show, but in regards to any of our promotions or anything like that. And not only that, but I felt bad because it was a great start. I mean, it was a great start to what we were working on. So, anyways, let's get on with the show. The freedom of acceptance. What this actually comes from is both Wayne and I have been through some therapeutic regimens, and through DBT, or I'm going to mispronounce this, it's dialectical behavior therapy. Through this, there is an origin called radical acceptance. And radical acceptance, to me, was very difficult in order to accept. Because to me, it seemed as if like I was accepting a whole lot and not getting much out of it. And, and it was to the point as to where, I wasn't getting the whole gist of it. I don't know if you did or not in the beginning of your therapeutic regimen.
That's a good question, because it's one of those things, I guess intellectually I understood, but am I really incorporating it into my life? Because radical acceptance is not about approving of the way of your situation. It's not about condoning. It's not about being happy with the way things are. It's not acceptance in that sense. It's the acceptance that's required for us to address our distorted thinking. We talked a lot about turning the thought, and one of the things was that a lot of our feelings are tied to the way we perceive situations, and the way we perceive situations can be distorted by a lot of our thoughts, the way we were brought up, just what we're paying attention to at the time. There's a lot of things that go into eventually determining how you feel about a situation, and then how you feel about the situation drives what actions you take. If you're in a good mood, you're taking happy actions. If you're angry, you're taking angry actions. So trying to address your feelings backs up to this distorted thinking and challenging your distorted thinking. But the first step to challenging distorted thinking is radical acceptance, meaning you have to open your eyes and you have to accept that this is the reality that you have at the moment.
Right.
It's not accept as in it's accept as in these are the cards I was dealt. This is my hand. I have to play these cards. I can't look at them and hope they change while they're in my hand. I might have to do something so they do change, but I have to accept reality as it is right now. It's that level of radical acceptance.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, now that I think about it, it's kind of foolish for me to have a problem with that. Considering the fact of all the years of recovery that I've been through, because I had to radically accept that I could not participate in my addiction, which my addiction is gambling. And I really, of course, I went through GA a few times, but when I really got a hold of the whole concept, the whole idea, and when I just said, I'm not going to change this at all. I'm going to make this a law, and I'm just going to just do what it is that I'm told to do. That's it, period. When I came to the realization, look, I can't gamble. I got that. So, but does that mean I can't do anything else? The answer is no. I can do anything else. And I think that kind of really like opened my eyes a little bit. And then all of a sudden I got the first invite to go skydiving. And that really hammered it home, was that I can do anything else. I just can't gamble. I just can't participate in my addiction. Okay, so, but I can do anything else. I can jump out of a fully functioning airplane if I want to. That's fine. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that without a parachute, but anyways, especially my situation when I had 8 twists in my parachute. But, but that really hammered it home. It hammered that idea of radical acceptance and me not even realizing it. I didn't even know what radical acceptance was at the time. So when I went into my DBT class, which is a whole lot of wording into, it's intense, and especially with the regimen that we went through. When it came to radical acceptance, I had a difficult time, because now you're talking about all the things that I've been feeling and believing for over 30 years. Now you just want me to just say, it is what it is. Of which I can't stand that statement. I cannot. That particular statement in itself drives me nuts, because it is what it is means you just don't want to change it, and that's my own core belief, and distorted or not. I hated that concept. It is what it is. But I had to learn it that way.
Yeah, that's the thing. But that's one of the things. It is what it is doesn't mean it is what it has to be in the future. Right. When in a DBT course or in the radical acceptance, when you talk about it is what it is, what it means is up to this point I have to accept reality. I know, like when I was with my recovery, I couldn't even really get to the point to accept I could never drink again. My first level of radical acceptance was I had to accept that a majority of the issues I was dealing with at the moment were a result of uncontrolled drinking.
Right.
I had to accept that. I could not stop denying that fact. So I wasn't projecting into the future what I could and couldn't do, not yet, until I accepted that my abuse of alcohol up to that point in my life was a major contributor to the situation I was in. And if I was not happy with the situation I was in, I needed to put the blame where the blame needed to be put. And that what that does is that forces me to make choices. And even today, I still can't say, oh, I can never drink again, or I can't even allow myself to think about that. I have to do it one day at a time. What I can do is wake up each day and say, you know what? I'm not going to drink today. And then what I do is that for that day, I accept that I have committed to not drinking for that day. And then I just get through the day. And, it's 1,570 days so far. Round of applause, round of applause, round of applause. But that's one day at a time. And that's I would not have had the freedom to do that. I would not have had the opportunity to get to 1,570 days if I hadn't fully accepted, not just accept in words, but accept into my heart that my abuse of alcohol up to that point in my life was responsible for a large part, was a major contributor to my situation. It was majorly responsible for the situation I was in. That and my mental health. It was a two-pronged attack there. I had to accept both that the drinking and my mental health were major contributors into my situation, and that if I wanted my situation to improve, I was going to have to deal with them. That's a level of acceptance doesn't mean I'm happy, and it doesn't mean I have to stay that way. It's not. It is what it is, and it can never change.
Right.
It's just it is. Reality is I'm in this situation because, and no excuses, no double talk, no rationalizations, being brutally honest with the situation, with the current situation. That's what radical acceptance is really about.
Yeah, and and when it came to, like I said, recovery, no problem. I can do this. You know what I mean? It's like, because I had my head handed to me enough times in order to say, hey, surrender, I'm all about that. But when you come to the feelings and the memories and the thoughts and everything that I went through over the past 30 years, I hold pretty tight to that. I hold pretty tight, or I used to hold pretty tight to, those feelings and the thoughts that and this is where the idea is that they wanted me to say, okay, it happened. It's like, hey, my biological father left. Bottom line, it's a fact. He left. It's like, now, can I get into all of that? Can I say, why did he leave? Did he do this? Sure, I can. And I can spin myself right into a world of hurt, and I did for quite a while. Or I can just say, yep, he left. And how does that affect me now? Does it really affect me? Do my feelings get hurt? Sure, they get hurt, but does that mean that I'm just going to be disabled? Does that mean that I'm not going to be able to do the things of which it is that I'm meant to do? Same thing with distorted thoughts. Okay. Distorted thoughts. I hated my voice. I hated the way that I look. Even to this day, I have difficult times with this. Yet, I make a living off of speaking. Off of being in front of people, off of being in public and doing things. So it's like this is the fact that the bottom line is, whatever my thought is, whatever my feeling is, okay. A lot of people seem to think that it's okay. So that's more the fact than what it is that I feel. Okay. So again, it's accepting it. A lot of people don't accept compliments. They don't accept them. It's like, whether, you say, well, I always say to everybody, you're a special and unique human being. And I got that from a mentor of mine, of which I thought I would just carry it on. And, and it's true. All of us are unique. That's what this show's about. The unique ideas and the unique passions that we all have that make us different in this world. And so here it is. I'm saying that the person's unique and that they're special, and then they'll say, no, I'm not. And they'll they'll argue with me. I mean, they'll literally argue with me. But who does that benefit? It doesn't benefit me, right? Because I'm just confused. Doesn't benefit the person because they're just, cementing themselves into the world of hurt that they've been in for far too long, and it doesn't help anybody else around that person, because anybody who's trying to help that person is going to have a very difficult time. And so, again, acceptance, the freedom of acceptance to say, thank you for the compliment and then move on, and I can tell you, I had a difficult time with that because I had a different feeling and a different view of how it is that I was compared to what other people would give to me. And I don't know if you've had that type of situation or something similar.
Yeah, it's definitely, it has to do with, and of course, this is my distorted thinking, my distorted perception, and growing up. Whether or not this is the real case doesn't matter. But my perception, looking back when I was growing up, was that I didn't feel that my accomplishments, whatever they may have been, any of my successes, accomplishments or promises, were being validated. I felt like nothing I did mattered. I didn't feel unique and special in any way, and because of that, very difficult to accept compliments from people or recognition. And when people say things, I either dismiss it as they obviously don't know me, kind of thing, or one of these things which comes across as very condescending, that yes, it seems like I'm doing very good at this whatever it is I'm doing, but I'm just doing it. I'm just me. I'm just, there's nothing special about me. Anybody could do what I'm doing. Yeah. Part of that is it false humility? Is it, I never grew up recognizing how special and unique I was in either specific ways or general ways, that I could not acknowledge somebody genuinely saying, hey, no, what you're doing is actually very special, and you need to recognize that in yourself, and not turn it into rejecting it, because one of the things it does is it does send a signal back to the other person that they're not smart, that they're not competent, because you're doing this amazing thing. We've all seen people do amazing things. You get this, if you get this message back from them that, oh, I'm not doing anything special, I'm just doing what any normal person could do, what is that saying about you? Right. And we have to worry about that a lot with communication, how it's being perceived. The things that we say, people have to hear them, and that's where the real meaning comes out. And we can have the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I mean, whatever you say, just because you intended a certain way, the person hearing it may not hear it that way. So there's that part to worry about. When it all comes back to just accept, that the compliment for one, but also learn to accept what is unique and special about yourself and recognize it as special and unique, and it is worthy of that notice.
Oh, absolutely. And for me, who's a living perfectionist, although there is no such thing, and I fail at it every time, but just the fact that it's coming to the realization that, hey, look, I just do the best that I can. That I'm accepting that. I'm just doing the best that I can on that given day, on that given hour, on that given minute. Because that as soon as I'm able to accept that, then it's like, okay, it gives me a starting point. See, that I think that's the big thing about this, is that it's not an ending point. It's not at your end. It's at your beginning. It is what it is, like Wayne said before, is the beginning. It doesn't mean that it has to be that way forever. It doesn't mean that it has to be that way. It doesn't even have to be that way for an hour. I mean, you can sit there and you can work on it and you can change things around. It is what it is, or acceptance, radical acceptance of what it is now, which we talked about that in terms of thought. I said, get used to the words right now. It is right now. Look, I don't feel well. right now. I feel inadequate right now. I hear the voices in my head right now. It doesn't mean that that's gonna continue. It doesn't. It may continue, but it doesn't have to continue. And once you start getting to the point as to where you start having control over that, and you start realizing that, sometimes you can find that start to where you can make a difference to again get those little goals set up, get those little accomplishments like Wayne was talking about. Those accomplishments make a difference, and then you start using acceptance for the good things that are out there, for saying, hey, I did this, I accomplished this. And I'm not talking about big things. I'm talking about the little things first. The little things make a big difference. And when you start acknowledging them, as in like accepting them for what they are, then all of a sudden now you've got a different starting point than what you had before. And it kind of goes with when we were talking about turning the thought. Where do you begin turning the thought? Is it the solution? Like where's the beginning of your solution? It's like I always say, don't start your solution where you're at right now. Start your solution a little bit ahead of that, because that gives you the freedom to be able to take the ball and run to the end zone, because and not have to worry about, because you have to go through a whole lot of different things. You have to go through different emotions. You have to go through different core beliefs, which we'll talk about. It's like these things that are ingrained into us that make us who it is that we are, which are very difficult in order to change. And then you're going to start your solution there? I don't think so. I think that's going to be a hard sled, to pull through the snow, pull through, it's like Alaska. You got the Iditarod thing there. If you got a big, huge snow pile, the dogs are looking back at you and like, we had to start here. It's like, why didn't we start over here where there's a little path? That's what I'm trying to say is when you accept the situation as is, that can be your starting point. That can be putting you on the path to where you need to be, and then taking off, which makes a big difference in life.
Yeah, I guess it's true what you say about part of that, setting that goal a little bit ahead to give you that direction to move in, takes a lot of radical acceptance, because what you have to start doing is accepting the things that you can do, right? You can't be setting goals for yourself somewhere down the line until you acknowledge what your particular skills are. What can I do? Once you know what you can do, then you can dream. And when you can dream, then you can make plans. And now you have these opportunities, these goals that are out there. They say that the difference between a goal and a dream is a plan. Yep. Are you just saying this, or is this something you're really going to do?
Right.
But you make these plans based on what you can do. You have to kick the can't. You have to stop focusing on what you can't do, and you've got to accept what you can do. So you need to look at what your cans are, and not get stuck on sort of what you can't do. I was going to say, it reminded me of this part of one of my, share my personal story. I have 1,570 days right now of not drinking, but the first 500 days of that, actually, I didn't go outside of my apartment. I stayed in my apartment for a year and a half, and there was wasn't a very good level of radical acceptance going on. There was one thing I was accepting: I couldn't drink anymore, and because I wasn't really. Because of distorted thinking, my best solution was don't go outside. Mm-hmm. That was part of it. That was part of why I didn't go outside. There was a lot of anxiety associated with going outside, and the way I dealt with that anxiety outside was to drink. And so if I don't go outside, then I don't have that anxiety, then I don't have to drink, and then I don't drink. So I just stay inside. I'm a genius. 500 days go by, I'm still inside. Radical acceptance has to kick in at some point and say, you know what, I have to really kind of think about my situation right now. What's really going on here? And what I had to accept was that I needed help. I didn't know what that help was. I didn't know what that help was going to entail. I didn't know what the very next day, I didn't know what the next 5 hours, the next hour was going to look like. But I knew in that moment I needed help. And it was about 2 a.m. on one night, and I went to the police station and just said, I need help. That was the level of my thinking, that, I realized I needed help. And the only thing I could think to do was, well, go to the police station and tell them you need help. And then from there, I was able to make, that was 1,000 days ago, basically, 3 years on. But it started with some level of, there's different levels of acceptance, but you have to accept reality for what it is. And then once you do that, and then you start focusing on what you can do, then you can start setting goals. One of the goals I set was kind of a very short-term goal in some sense, was I had to move. I realized I could not live where I was living. I needed to have a real change. And so while I was in the hospital, kind of getting myself back to, normal in some sense, getting myself stabilized, actually, I made arrangements to move. So I moved to a new place. But I couldn't do that until I started focusing on what I can do and what I need to do and what my acceptance was. And then I could put little goals out there and then work toward those goals.
Yeah. And that's exactly, what the freedom of acceptance allows you to do is to pursue those goals, and different goals. Like we've had conversations as to where, you have to ask the right question in order to be able to get, sometimes in order to be able to get the answer that you've been looking for. But sometimes you ask the wrong questions, and then you get the answers to those questions, and it's not helping you in any way. And for my personal experience, that's what was my life. I sat there and asked a whole lot of different questions that were out there, like, what should I do? Is money important? Is being number one at what you do, is that important? Is always being very absolute. They're very absolute questions. And what I mean by absolute, I mean like it's either yes or no. That's it. It's like, and I'm expecting a yes. I've already got the answer in my mind, right? So it's one of those things. Well, when it drove me into the ground, okay, so it got me to the point is where I had a heck of a skill set. I had a lot of different capabilities. I had a tremendous amount of passion, and I had the capability of doing a lot of different things. But I was driving myself into the ground. And it wasn't until I finally said to myself that I am not meant to live this life the way that I want to be happy. That's just the bottom line. Now, I'll be honest with you. I was not in the best frame of mind when I was talking about this, because I was sitting there basically saying, I give up. You know what I mean? Screw it. I'm not supposed to live this way. I'm not supposed to be happy the way that I want to be. Okay. And then all of a sudden I asked the right question. And the right question was, maybe I'm supposed to utilize my experiences to help another. And then bam, all of a sudden, I was given that beginning point. That beginning point was where all of a sudden my higher power, which I believe is God and his son, Jesus Christ, right then and there sent me a sign. I got 2 beats in my heart. And next thing I know, it was a different world. It was a different life. It wasn't about being, a consultant, out and making a whole lot of money. It wasn't about being number one. It wasn't about being, better than anybody else. All of a sudden, I was now thinking, how am I going to help people? How am I going to utilize this skill set that I have, of which is amazing. I mean, it's amazing that I have this skill set, and it's a lot of work. I mean, a lot of self-taught, because I don't have a college education, but but God gave that to me, And then all of a sudden, now I can utilize that skill set to help people. And then all of a sudden, my world just changed. All of a sudden, I started a business, speaking on behalf of a patient's point of view. I started writing, it's like I'm working on 2 different books. I've got motivational pieces that are out there. I've got, different speeches that are out there for clinics and hospitals and organizations and so forth. And then all of a sudden, next thing I know, I've got Arisen Strength, of which is like my passion. I love this. I love doing this show. I really do. I really am impassioned about this show. And it's because I radically accepted the fact that I was not living life the way that I needed to. Now, I wasn't in the best frame of mind, and I was in a negative way. But I asked the right question, and I just so happened to get the answer that I was looking for all this time. And it made that much of a difference. And now we make that much of a difference for other people from utilizing our experiences to help other people to be supported, to be acknowledged, understood. Then we're able to empower because we've been through the therapy that we've been through. Again, another skill set that was given. And then, we have the right to celebrate, and over time, and I know that's going to take some time, people are going to start seeing that this show is making a difference in their lives, and they're going to be able to do some amazing things more than what it is that we even do.
Yeah, I'm a believer. I don't have all the evidence to support that this is absolutely true, but I believe that all the answers to the most important questions in your life you already have. You just need to ask the right question. And part of asking that right question is maybe you have to hear the right question from somebody else, but you eventually ask that question yourself, and it's not the answer that somebody's going to give you that's going to save you. Don't go out looking for answers, I like to say. Go out looking for questions, because when you hear that right question and it's framed in just the right way, based on my personal experiences, I have these aha moments, these epiphanies, these, this sort of, sudden realization that oh, it's so obvious now, and it's only because the right question got asked. I know that for a lot of people struggling with early recovery, a lot of people have questions about how they're going to live their life, and sometimes if they don't ask, add it in directly when they're asking, there's sort of this tacit understanding with moderation. Like if I want to, how do I not drink so much? How is it, so they start asking these questions trying to, improve their lives, but they're asking the wrong question, because the right question doesn't involve a lot of those, little things that we like to tack on, because that goes back to the acceptance. They haven't fully accepted their situation. When you fully accept your situation, then you can start asking questions that now have meaning. If your life up to that point has been a series of grave errors and mistakes, there can be a realization that says, you know what? I can learn from my mistakes, and other people can learn from my mistakes, my experiences, from my life, from my example. And maybe that's what I can do going forward. And it's, there's this thing when, I'm sure you've had just in small ways, these little aha moments where it's suddenly, the answer. Boom. Where's that answer coming from? You could, whatever your higher power is, or, you can think of, however you want to think about that. It's not coming necessarily, though, from external. It's coming from inside of you. Right. There's somebody acting on your behalf inside of you. There's or it's just you acting on behalf of you. But that's something that comes from inside that you're like, aha, I know the answer. And it's because the right question got asked. And those right questions are a lot of times are blinded. We're blinded from asking those questions because we haven't fully accepted our situation. It's that turn the thought is opening the blinders. It's opening your mind. It's opening your hearts. It's being open to opportunity. And one of those opportunities is the opportunity to ask new questions that I've tried everything and nothing works. Well, you haven't tried everything. You've tried all the things that you know about so far. You need to know a few more things. You have to open up. You have to ask a new question to get a new answer sometimes.
And one of the more famous quotes from a president of our country, the United States, is from John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. And then all of a sudden that just really kind of put the onus on us as to where it's like, well, what can I do? What can I do economically? What can I do militarily? Whatever the case may be. And it opened up people's eyes. And it was one of those things as to where it's like, it was a beginning. It was a beginning point. And it was like, look, here's just another way. It's a turn the thought. It's just another way of looking at things, and it opened people's eyes and hearts to the country. So now, Shane, people are probably asking, hey, look, Shane, I really want to be on board with you. I really want to, utilize radical acceptance. I really want to be, utilizing the freedom of acceptance. But I've been through a whole lot of things, and I just really can't let them go. Well, I can understand that because I went through that. But let me tell you what it is that you're saying. What you're saying is that you want to hold all that weight of what it is that you've got, and you want to hold it up instead of moving forward. One of the things that I learned is it was one of those things when we were talking about my depression, my severe depression that I've been dealing with for over 30 years. And somebody said something and said, stop holding your depression outside of your house. And I looked at it, I'm like, what the heck do you mean by that? You know what I mean? It's like, what do you want me to invite it in and give it a drink or something, or what? And the person said, that's exactly what I want you to do. And I said, wait a minute here. You want me, of what it is that I've been trying to protect my life from, and you want me to invite it into my house? And she goes, yeah. And I said, okay, well, that makes absolutely no sense to me. Well, I went home, in which case that happens a lot in therapy. You go home and you start thinking about what it is that's being said. And I started realizing that I was, just like Wayne's computer, I was utilizing a whole lot of resources trying to keep my depression outside of my home. So imagine I'm holding the door, trying to keep that depression from coming inside my house. I'm just like this, and I'm paralyzed. I can only do one thing. I can only hold that door. I can't do anything else. I can't think about anything else. All I can do is I can hold that door to keep it from coming in. And yet, if I let it in, if I open up the door and I let it in, then I can do a number of different things. I can say, I'm going to deal with you right here and now. I can say, make yourself at home. I'm not dealing with you just now. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to watch a movie. I'm going to, call a friend. I'm going to go work out. Whatever the case may be. It gave me that starting point. It opened up my possibilities, my opportunities. In which case, again, if I'm just sitting there and I'm standing there just holding that door, I got nowhere to go. I can't do anything but hold that door. And that's what I'm talking about, the freedom of acceptance. Even in that radical situation where it seems out of the ordinary, out of mind, really, to allow my depression, of which literally damn well killed me, into my home.
Yeah, you had to accept that depression was part of your life.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't just deny it and say it's outside my house, out of my house. You have to first accept that it's part of your life. It doesn't have to be a controlling factor for the rest of your life. It's a matter of, in that moment, accepting that depression is part of your life. And then that's a weight off your shoulders. Like I said, it's a weight off your arms. You open the door. Okay, you're going to come in, you come in. Now I can deal with you. Right. Just ignoring issues, is not dealing. You can put things on the back burner. That's, people confuse this sometimes with avoidance. They think, well, I won't put anything on the back burner because putting things on the back burner is not avoiding them. It's a lot of times that takes radical acceptance. It's accepting there's nothing I can do about this situation today.
Right.
Maybe there's somebody you need to talk to and they're out of town until tomorrow. Well, you got to put that on the back burner, because everything you do between now and they get back doesn't matter until you talk to them. And we have to, in our lives, we have to prioritize some of these events, and we have to take some events and put them on the back burner. And that's not avoiding them. That's just saying, I'm not dealing with you right now because there's nothing I can do right now about that. But I've got my eye on you. I know where you are.
Right.
I know where to go. But I'm not going to wrestle with you. I'm not going to deal with. And it's the same thing with let the depression in. Open the door. Let the depression in. If it's part of your life, at least in that moment, say, you know what? You are part of my life, and I'm going to have to deal with you at some point. But I'm not going to be just taking all my energy and keeping the door closed with you on the other side. Let you in. Maybe I can go outside. Maybe I can go for a walk. Maybe I go to the movie. Maybe I watch, whatever I do.
And again, it's just like your computer. Your computer, for whatever reason, is utilizing a ton of resources. We're not altogether sure why. We'll figure that out. But what's the effect? The effect is that it runs very slow. It's running extremely slow compared to what it normally would. Why? Because it's putting all its resources into doing whatever it is that it's trying to do. And it's not accepting whatever the situation is, that it's definitely not accepting that we have a show on Sunday night, so, but really, I'm not, I joke and everything because, again, it's accepting the fact of challenges. It's accepting the fact that there are struggles that are out there. It is not accepting the fact that I am helpless. It is not accepting the fact that I'm useless. It's not accepting the fact that it will always be this way. It's not accepting the fact that we will never fix this. We will never get this to work out. We'll get a new computer if we need to. We'll be able to do whatever it is that we need to do. Same thing with the depression. The depression it's as strong as what we allow it to be. And I know that that's probably going to make people annoyed for what it is that they go through, because I know I did. But the thing is that it's only as strong as we allow it to be. Because the more that we put our resources to it, the more that we put our efforts to it, the more it ends up being to the point as to where that it's all that we talk about, and then we end up being paralyzed. So, I'm going to leave it at that. That's what the freedom of acceptance is. Again, I've always said this, there's not one subject that we are going to talk about that's going to be up in one show. But we'll talk about it some more. We'll talk about it in different other topics as well. Now that we've introduced it, into our show, we can utilize it a number of different ways. So that's the show for tonight. You'll notice that we've got a new look going. You'll see different videos and stuff like that Wayne's working on. I really appreciate everything that Wayne has done. We're working on a lot of different things, and we're going to get this. We're taking this year, the remainder of this year, to really work on things, and that way, when we hit the next year coming, we can hit the ground running, and we can be, exactly where we want to be. We're where we are because that's where we're supposed to be right now. That is the freedom of acceptance. We're where we are right now, and that's okay. Doesn't mean that we're going to be there, not even an hour from now, but we are where we are right now, and that's okay. So we also started a new YouTube channel, in which case right now it's under construction, as well as everything else that we're doing. But we're going to, next week, we'll have that link so that you can go ahead and you can see all the different videos that we've done from the different shows that we've done. Also, the Arisen Strength motivational piece will be there, as well as a number of other things that'll be there in order to help out our members and our audience. How it is. Journey into the Light, man, I'm having a great time with that. I really am.
That's a lot of fun. Monday nights on Blog Talk Radio. It's the Journey into the Light Network. 8 o'clock, right? For an hour?
8 o'clock, 8 o'clock Eastern time. It's for an hour. Like I said, I'm having a good time with it. Michael Long, I don't think he knew what he was getting into, but he's now he realizes that we're there to stay, and that we bring it. to our audience, and we're going to bring it to his audience. And I think he likes it, to the fact that we are making a difference in people's lives, and we're going to do that for as long as we go. So
and like this show, those episodes are archived,
Yep.
but there is live chat. We do our live chat here through the Chatsy chat room.
Right.
Arisen Strength is the room name. Come to chatsy.com, Arisen Strength, and we have live broadcasts. The chat room is actually there 24/7. Come in anytime if we can get people in there and make it a place to come and talk. But certainly during the live broadcast. But Blog Talk Radio has their own embedded chat that is show specific. When you come and watch the live show or listen to it's radio, so you listen to the live chat. But there is a chat window that you can then talk with. I'll be in the chat room with the Blog Talk Radio regulars,
Yep.
and we have a blast in there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Wayne does have a blast in there, and they all love him. And meanwhile, it's like I'm sitting there and I'm trying to motivate and empower people, and Wayne really helps out in the chat room to reinforce what it is that I'm bringing across. So it's really been a lot of fun, and it's something that I look forward to as well. So every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Blog Talk Radio, definitely look for us. It's Journey into the Light Network with Michael Long.
Oh, I just wanted to mention about the YouTube channel again. It's called Arisen Strength, just like our other properties are called. The Google Hangouts, or the broadcast that you see now, is done through Google Hangout, and it makes a YouTube video. And in the past, those YouTube videos have been first appearing on my personal YouTube channel, which is not an issue. I don't mind them there. And then if we take them off there, we can move to other channels. But it just gets to be a little awkward that they're not located to people who are interested in Arisen Strength, who can go to Arisen Strength and find Arisen Strength materials. So setting up a standalone YouTube channel for all our videos. Right now, we haven't moved everything over there yet, but this broadcast, as soon as we're done recording, in fact, as you're watching it now, you're watching it through our YouTube channel. And when you go to the YouTube channel, it'll probably be, for now, might be a couple of videos. We're going to try and get the promo videos, credit videos that are being a little wonky right now during the live broadcast. We have them; they look great, and we want to definitely take a look at those. There's some, I think you're going to enjoy our theme song that we've chosen for the show. And I guess I don't want to spoil that right now until we have a version that we can show live, and then we can. I think you heard a little bit of the sample of the song at the beginning.
Yep.
And full disclosure, we have the artist's.
We have his copyright and his
approval.
Permission to utilize that.
I might as well say, we'll give it out. The name of the song is Angel. It's by an artist goes by the name of Derek Ashong, Ashong. And then the band, it's Derek Ashong and Solfege. And the album is Afropolitan, and the song again is called Angel, and it's just a wonderful song, and and Derek's a great guy, and thank you very much, Derek, for letting us use the song.
And the song stays with you, I mean, I know I've heard it about 150 times over the past 2 days, but it stays with me, and Wayne can tell you that all of a sudden I'm like humming it all over the place, and it's just a song that I enjoy, so it fits well for our show. Yesterday was the 4th of July, folks. For all those men and women of any service, before and now, as well as into the future, folks, I just want to say thank you for all that you do. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to have the freedom to do anything, much less acceptance. And the Arisen Strength concept would be suppressed just as many other dreams, talents, and capabilities that are out there. So I wanted to say thank you to all the men and women in the service, who fight for our country, fight for our freedom. It's so much more than just the words. It really is something that makes a difference in this country, in my life, and in Wayne's life, and in and all our members and audience. So I'm gonna let it go right now. We're gonna start the ending credits, which we're very happy about. So enjoy your rest of your night. Watch the end of the credits. It'll have all of the contact info from us, as well as all the things that we've been doing. So thanks again, folks. You have a good night, and we'll see you on Blog Talk tomorrow night. And if not then we'll see you on Thursday night with the recap show. Good night, folks.
Good night.
Live where we are. How did you know that you'd be my angel when your wings were trapped into my heart?
Oh.
Where did you see that we would be wonderful and our dreams live where we are? How did you know that you'd be my angel? Your wings trapped into my heart. Where did you see that we would be wonderful and our dreams live where we are? How did you know that you'd be my angel? Your wings trapped in my heart. Where did you see that we would be wonderful?
Don't know where the sound's coming from.
Live where we are. How did you know that you'd be my angel? When your wings were trapped in my heart, where did you see that we would be wonderful and our dreams will live where we are? How did you know that you'd be my angel? When your trapped in my heart, where did you see that we would be wonderful?